10 minutes was the warm-up, nigga, get in tune. You want a beef? Let's meet. Hit my Zoom. I'm calling shots, you in the bleachers, morning every move. I kill 'em with success, I'm up next, like afternoon. You niggas even in the playing scale, it's like the moon trying to sunset as the nightmare I rap resumes. You get eclipsed and then I star in the movie where the underdog leaves the whole game straight confused. You think you rapping with a guy? You must be crazy, nigga. One song from my deluxe is all I need to do. These puppies barking, they don't bit off more than they can chew. My album just dropped, I'm already back for round 2.
Welcome to the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show. I am your host, Albert Apache, and as usual, brought to you by O.s.s Self-Defense Fitness and Grappling. Alright guys, so as you can see the intro to this video, we're going to be talking about The Loss by Gary Tonon, and exactly what happened. I mean, he had this Taekwondo specialist leg wrapped up and was not able to finish the deal. So, well, first we're going to take a look at and we're going to listen to John Danaher when it comes to the system of Jiu-Jitsu as a fighting system. And I thought it was important, while there are many other ways to break down the fighting system of Jiu-Jitsu, to listen to Danaher, since he is the coach or the primary coach of Gary Tonon. So let's take a listen to what he has to say.
So we've just described Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a 4-step system. It's beautiful, it's elegant, and it's deadly effective. Step number 1, take the fight to the ground. Take away the danger of explosive kinetic energy. Step number 2, get past his dangerous legs. Step number 3, work your way through a hierarchy of pins, each one graded upon your ability to harm your opponent with strikes on the ground, and set up step number 4, submissions.
Okay, so Danaher gave us a 4-step system. Take down, pass the legs, pin the opponent, and then look for your submission. Now in the Leglock game, we're going to have to look at it a tiny bit different, since we're not going for upper body submissions. In this case, a takedown is going to mean to get your opponent's hips or hands on the ground to limit their explosive movements. This is going to keep you relatively safe from being knocked out. Next, passing the legs. We're not going to be passing the legs. So what I think we need to look at, the equivalent here, is to control the legs. That's the important step when we're talking about the leg lock game. Part number 3, pinning the opponent. I think here the leg lock equivalent is to use the various ashi positions to pin or immobilize the opponent's hips. Sorry about that, looks like I got a couple of typos there. And then of course, lastly, is to look for the submission now that we have the opponent's hips immobilized and we're controlling their legs. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown. Alright, so we're going to go through the fight. I'm going to try and point out where I see Gary not necessarily following through the steps of Danaher's description of Jiu-Jitsu as a martial art fighting system. Let's take a look. So even initially, we kind of see Gary is trying to strike, and he's going one shot at a time. I want to stop here. So we see that Gary throws a kick, it's caught. He doesn't really absorb too much damage. He has the opportunity here to reset, but rather than reset, he looks to pull guard. So number 1, he never actually gets a takedown here. There's no takedown here. He doesn't have his opponent's hips on the ground. He doesn't have his opponent's hands on the ground. There's no takedown here. But he's going to try to remedy that as we go through. So here we see the leg entanglement. Now initially, I really feel like Gary was on the right path to get a victory here via leg lock. It looks like he's attempting initially very sincerely to get his opponent down to the ground, get those hips on the mat, or get the hands on the mat. And we see right there, let's come back. You see, if when the opponent's hands are on the mat, they're too occupied to strike. Here, no hands on the mat, no hips on the mat, and Gary eats a strike for it. And here we see Gary jumping straight for the submission. Somewhere right here, it's a little bit hard to see because of the ref. There it is. He has a bite on the heel, and he's looking for the submission. Rather than getting the hips to the ground or the hands to the mat to take away the explosive power, he's jumping right to the submission. He doesn't have full control of the opponent's legs because you can see that the left leg of his opponent is floating freely. So he doesn't really have a pin. Okay. He does have control of a leg. And generally speaking, when you're talking about a less athletic person, this may have been enough. But not against a very, very good athlete that's going to be able to make his way up. So here, this is where I thought Gary was going to win the fight. You see how he has the opponent's hips on the ground. He has control of the leg. And due to the fact that he's essentially pinning the bottom leg to the mat with the position, he has control of the bottom leg as well. His opponent is basically hand fighting and grip fighting here. This was probably his best shot to finish the leg lock in the entire fight. His opponent, again, able to get his hips up off the ground. Very smart. What this is doing is it's taking away, he's able to sit back on Tonon's hamstring here. And this is keeping Tonon from being able to really extend his left leg completely to really get all the breaking power that he possibly can. His opponent's still grip fighting. Hips are up, hands are not on the mat. Foot's now flat on the mat. Now he's completely out of danger again. You see here, Tonon, again, trying to get his opponent to the mat. Hands are on the mat. Right here, he transitions and he lets go of the leg. So he did have an opportunity for a split second. He got that quote-unquote takedown when it comes to the leg game. But by the time he gets his legs repositioned to come around for the attack, his opponent's already ready to strike and out of danger. You see here, Tonon grabbing the grip on the heel. Okay? Again, skipping from the takedown, skipping past the takedown position, skipping past the leg control position, skipping past the ashi or pin positions, and looking straight for the breaking grip. And again, it causes him to eat yet another strike. And this is where things went south. But I want to show you what exactly happened here. Gary's going to try to go to like an outside saddle type of position here. You see his legs coming across. Initially, his left leg's coming across his opponent's hip. And he's going to go to the outside, which is usually a good idea when you're in MMA and you're trying to do striking, or you have striking included in your leg locking fight where you can do leg locks. It's usually a good idea because what this will usually allow you to do, if you're actually controlling the opponent's leg, is it allows you to wrap up the leg and turn away from your opponent, kind of in a yin-yang fashion. So they can't strike you in the front of the head or the front of the face because you're looking away from them. And it creates a lot of distance between your head and their head. So usually it's a good position. However, Gary fails to really control the leg, slips out right there. Doesn't matter. He's going to continue to turn and look for that leg, even though he has no control of it. And that's when his opponent, he's going to crunch in towards his opponent's leg at the same time as the opponent throws a strike. And he basically is going to crunch right into this right hand. Bam. And that was basically all she wrote for Gary Tonon in this particular fight. Now, if you're interested in taking a look at some Leglock games and when Leglock has actually worked in MMA, you can look at some of Gary's older fights, but when I'm talking about the leg positioning and turning away, people who use this really well is Rusimir Paul Harris, Ryan Hall. A lot of the leg locks that they've gotten has been when they have an outside saddle position and they're turning so that they're kind of like in a yin-yang position. I don't want to call it the north-south because that confuses people because they think, head to butt, butt to head kind of positioning. That's not what I'm talking about. It means I'm looking downward towards the mat and your head is facing upwards towards the ceiling or the sky. So kind of a yin-yang position as I'm applying my leg lock. If I can get to that position, it makes it very, very hard for my opponent to strike me in the head or face area while I'm applying my leg lock. In this instance, Gary did look like he was trying to get to that position, but it was just a little too late. His opponent was too athletic and he didn't look for the takedown. There were times in this fight where you'll see a leg entanglement and maybe he had an opportunity as his opponent turned away from him to take the back of his opponent, and maybe a more traditional grappling style would have made a bigger difference here with this opponent. I think I understand why Gary went for the leg lock early and got a little honey badger about it, sticking with it, is because, well, as early in the fight, they really hadn't broken a sweat. Things are not going to slip as easily, a little bit more friction. And I think that's why he was very insistent on going after the heel. That being said, I think this is an example for a lot of younger, newer jiu-jitsu players to remind you that while these very high level guys can sometimes skip through steps and get to a submission, even the highest level guy, when paired against somebody who is very athletic, very explosive, very strong, if you skip the steps that are part of your jiu-jitsu system, i.e. you skip getting the takedown, you skip getting past the legs or controlling the legs, you skip pinning that opponent's hips to the ground and controlling them before applying your submission, you can put yourself in a lot of trouble. So overall, I don't think this is a critique of leg locks or even really a critique of Gary Tonon. I think this was just an absolute bad game plan as far as looking just for the leg lock. I really feel like he could have come to the back. I feel like there was opportunity for him to take the back. And again, I'm just some lowly purple belt. Maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. This is the highest level guys, and maybe I'll get roasted for it. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, guys, remember, we're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark by the 4th of July. So please like, comment, share the video. I try to interact with every single comment. We're going to be doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers. We're going to be doing a rash guard. I'm going to have that rash guard relatively soon. So on the next video, hopefully I'll be able to show you which rash guard that's going to be. And we'll talk about what the rules will be for the giveaway. So look forward to that. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose, guys.
What you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? We're all triggered and defensive. offensive. We're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42. Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered and pretend you're a victim. It's my race, it's my weight, it's because I'm a Christian. I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white. Okay, fine. Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right. Let's talk about abortion. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird. People are so stupid.